All right, so what if nothing in your work needs to change for it to get better? Not the hours, not the people, not the grind, literally nothing, not even the location. And what if just one thing that took 30 seconds was the only thing that needed to change? Look, I get it, right now, you show up, you perform, you produce, you get the job done. There's no problem that you can't figure out, but here's the big problem. Somewhere between the first task and the last one, the meaning of why you're even doing any of this vanishes. And you know the feeling where the inbox fills up, the meetings get too long, the day becomes pressure, and by the time that you're going home, you're so depleted, you don't have any energy to connect to the people that actually love you. You know the feeling? Hi, I'm Shyambo, and I study what happens when ancient spiritual practice meets modern neuroscience in the daily lives of high-performing men. And what I have done over the last 20 years is literally that. Learn that stuff and apply it. And now I've been sharing it with all of my clients. And in this video, I'll share exactly how my wife and I lived inside that exact pattern. We were successful on paper, but the feeling of our spiritual practice had become literally like a checklist. Sometimes we would forget if it was even there. It just became something that we did, not something that we felt here, because that's important. It's just one question that we decided to ask a Hindu monk changed everything. Not a retreat, just one question. And the prayer and the intention that we received in return literally only takes us 30 seconds to do, but it changes everything. And I'm gonna share that prayer and intention with you in this video. And I'll show you exactly why it works as well, like the neuroscience, before we're done. So stick around if that's something that you'd be interested in. But before we go into the video, when was the last time you sat at your desk and you felt that the work you were doing was connected to you deeply, and it's somehow connected to something you really care about? Not that the work made you feel productive or efficient or effective, but the work truly connected to something beyond yourself. This is the Brighter Mindset. Here we ask a question that I love to ask. What does it actually take to live well? Not successfully, but well. From your body, to your breath, to your mind, to your character. Those are the types of things that we explore here on the Brighter Mindset. What I'm about to share with you today is one of the most powerful answers I have ever received in my entire life. Over a century ago, there's a psychologist named William James. He's considered to be the father of American psychology because he was one of the reasons is because he was one of the first professors to teach psychology in America in school. He wrote 7 words that I want to share with you because it captures everything we're going to talk about today. My experience is what I agree to attend to. In other words, your life is built from whatever you choose to pay attention to. You hear me? You see this everywhere. Just think about your social media algorithm. It's how it works. You only see the things you decide to stop, look at, or click on. Just put it simply, what you focus on becomes your reality and it becomes your life. So the question then becomes, what have you been agreeing to? And what would change if you chose differently? That is what this video is about. And I had recorded what you're gonna watch next about 8-9 months ago when I was sitting inside of my prayer space in our home. The prayer and the intention that I'm sharing with you in this video has been a part of my daily life for almost 8 years. And it works the moment you try. The moment you say it, it works. How about I take you back to the season of our lives when all of this was happening? Our lifestyle was so busy. She worked at a law firm, I worked at a startup, both had 6-figure incomes. But the most difficult thing about this was we were so busy the whole time that even though we were at work doing something we loved and then we came home, we were so tired that the whole day seemed like, wait a second, we did some good work, but we didn't feel connected to our spirituality. We were doing everything with the right intention and we couldn't figure out what was missing. That's when we decided to do something incredible. We asked a good question. And the question actually came from my wife, not from me. So I want to give her all the credit for this. Welcome to our Ghar Mandir, or our home sanctuary. It's a place where we ground ourselves in the morning as the first thing that we do. The last thing we do before we go to bed, we come here and we offer our prayers and say thank you for this day. And then we make our way up. But then throughout the day, we have opportunities to come back. I encourage every single person walking here, you don't need something like this. You just need a place in the home that grounds you and reminds you that there's more to life than just this. and just the food or the experience or someone liking us. There's so much more to life than what our senses can perceive. And if you can have a space that just helps you connect with the world at large, with the higher power, it's essential, because everything else in your home is going to remind you of this world, this body, your role in it. It's going to tell you all the things that bind you more down to this world. And when you have a place that is central to your home, that helps remind you that there's something more to this life than just what you see around you, it helps you, it grounds you. And so for us, we had the privilege of having some incredible mentors in our life. If you have somebody in your life that you're able to go through when you're struggling through something, it's fantastic. It's nice to have a peer, because you feel like they're going through the same thing as you, and then maybe they've learned something they can share with you. Sometimes it's really, really good to go to people who are far ahead of you, which is what I tend to do. People who have a lot more than I do, not in the material sense, but in the spiritual sense. They have a lot more stability, a lot more happiness, a lot more joy. So one of those Hindu monks that I've turned to probably for about 15 years, since 2010, is this one monk named Anand Swarup Swami. He is extremely well educated. He is very smart. He's from India. He renounced and he became a Hindu monk and dedicated his life to the betterment of society. He owns nothing, has nothing. They never touch money. They're living very, very simple, humble lives. And when you go to somebody that has nothing, that wants nothing from you, can take nothing from you, they don't have any ulterior motive but to guide you in the best way they can, and they know to help you have a little bit more happiness and joy. So as you know, my wife and I were struggling. Something was missing and we weren't grounding ourselves in the way that we wanted to. And it's because my wife was self-aware enough to recognize that she feels disconnected from her relationship with God, with her guru. She said, I need to do something. We had the opportunity of going down to LA. In Chino Hills, there is a beautiful Hindu mandir, traditional Hindu mandir that's built there out of stone, limestone and marble. It was just an event that was going to be taking place for 3 days, where we were going to go listen to lectures and really help ourselves just reassess where we are on our spiritual path. And one of the monks, Anand Saraswami, was going to be there. I told her that I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to try to find some time to talk to him. And she's like, I have a question. I've been thinking about this a lot. She just presented the question, and I'll tell you what that question is. Because this one question was the reason why we received the guidance we've had. And I promise you, there's nothing that has grounded us more than the 3 prayers that he literally dictated for me to recite throughout the day. And something about offering that prayer was being intentional about how I wanted to spend the following few minutes, the following hour, being intentional about how I spent the day, being intentional about what I did with my mind. And that intentionality, if you remember from the first video on the channel, if you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch it. One of the biggest things that I have learned that has impacted the quality of my spiritual practice more than anything, is learning how to be intentional, but in the right direction. So my wife asked this phenomenal question. I wrote it down because I was gonna have an opportunity to run into him, and so I sat with him and I just said, hey, my wife had a question, I just wanted to present it to you. She's struggling to do something. Mind you, this whole entire time, I'm not thinking about me, my work, my situation. I'm just like, oh, my wife's struggling through something. I'm fine, life is good. I'm handling this stuff fine. I have a strong relationship with God and my guru. I have a strong spiritual foundation. I'm just like, oh, I'm okay. And then I recite the question. The question was simply this. Every day I start off my day, I do my morning prayer, my morning puja, and then I go to work. And my work is so involved and so intense that while I'm at work, I feel so disconnected from my faith and my spirituality. While I'm there the whole time, I just feel more and more weight gathering on my shoulders, and I feel like this work is so purposeless. And I don't want to do this because it just feels so empty. If you've ever known somebody who works at a law firm, there's a lot of energy that's there early on, and then when you get stuck in the monotonous work, sometimes it can become very tiring. It can become almost boring. It can make you question, why did I go to law school? I'm not saying she was questioning that, but she definitely was feeling like, what am I doing? And I don't feel like I'm actually using my time wisely. And it's like, then I come home and I'm so tired. What can I do so that way when I'm at work, I can feel more connected and I can feel like the work I'm doing is purposeful. I'm going to a startup, loving the work I'm doing, dealing with people, manager at a startup running their customer success department. And it was just fantastic. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm doing enough. I remember God, I remember my guru, from time to time. He turned to me and said, this is something that may not take as much effort as you think. It's just a matter of intention. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, it just depends on how you frame your work. What does your work mean to you? I want to share a bit about the science behind what he just said, because I think it's extremely important. When I walked out of that room after he had given me the intention and had the whole conversation, I thought he was giving me spiritual advice. But as I started digging into the research, I realized that he was actually describing how my brain works. This wasn't just a monk's philosophy. It was literally neuroscience. Let me show you what is happening in your biology when you set a clear intention and make the mental shift. The shift he suggested was so simple, but honestly, it's probably one of the most profound things. Instead of working for a paycheck or the boss or the recognition or the wealth, you'll see later in the video that my wife was encouraged to work for something higher, to find meaning beyond herself. Did you catch that? Not for the boss, not for the raise, not for the performance review. Literally for something greater and something beyond herself. And what I discovered is that this isn't just a spiritual concept. It's biology. Let me explain what is happening in your brain when you do this, because it's fascinating. The first thing that he said was what? Let's remember. It's a matter of intention. Your brain is constantly bombarded with so much information, more than any person could ever handle. Everything you see, you hear, you feel, you experience is fighting for a spot in your awareness, and your brain has to act like a bouncer at a club, deciding what gets in and what stays out. There was a landmark study that took place in 1995, and these two researchers found that when you have a clearly held goal in your mind, your brain stops picking winners at random. Instead, it's effectively just tipping the scale in your favor and prioritizing the information around your world that matches your goal, what's important to you. Making sure that the things that actually matter to your intention are the ones that actually reach your awareness, so you become aware of it. Then there's a second mechanism at play, and it's called perspective memory. The two researchers with over 30 years of study on this topic found that when you set a morning intention, and you leave it unfinished, where you haven't actually fulfilled it, it stays activated literally in the background of your brain. Psychologists call this intention superiority effect. But just keep in mind, the naming isn't important at all. I'm just sharing with you the real science behind the seemingly simple act of setting an intention. But what those scientists found is that when an open loop stays lit up in your mind, it gently tugs at your attention throughout the day. It pretty much just like keeps bringing you back towards whatever it is that you told yourself was important to you. If you think about the last time you watched something that had a cliffhanger at the end of it, a movie or a show, or you read something, your brain is hardwired to keep a loop alive and open, so you just keep thinking about it. That's just how the brain is set up. So when you set an intention, say in the morning, you have loaded two things into your brain: a target for your attention filter, and two, an open loop that just keeps bringing you back to that intention. And it's not done through willpower. It's done through the way your brain was actually built. But there is a big problem with goal setting, which I want to highlight to you here. And this is where this whole idea of prayer comes into the picture. Usually setting a goal feels like talking to yourself, which is why it's so easy to ignore. But prayer has a completely different effect. And the research completely backs this up. When a neuroscience team in Denmark scanned the brains of 20 deeply religious people praying in their own words, not a script that they were reading, but like praying from their own words conversationally. There's a part of the brain called the social cognition network. It lights up, but it usually lights up when you're talking to a real person and you think that that person is actually listening to you. To the believer's brain, a personal prayer is not treated as talking to yourself. It's actually treated as a relationship, a real conversation. While setting an intention, you're not just reciting words. You are installing a new operating system, literally telling your brain what to look for unconsciously, and you're doing it in partnership, especially if you pray with God. Isn't that amazing? So now you have the science, and you know how your brain filters information and uses open loops to keep you on track because you set an intention, so your brain's looking for it. If your brain is a sophisticated, hardwired machine, which is what it is, you have to ask, what operating system are you choosing to run it on? My gurus, and in this case, Anand Sarup Swami, didn't just give us a prayer for the sake of ritual. Physiologically, it also gave us an actual operating protocol to override the stress response in our brain. Let's look at the specific instructions that he gave me and my wife to put that protocol into practice. Then he said, here's 3 things that you can do. He gave me a prayer to say the moment my eyes wake up, and I wrote that down. This video is not about that. I'll talk about that in another one. He gave a prayer to say at the Ghar Mandir, or your spiritual sanctuary in your home, before you leave the house, and what to say on your way back into the home. This is incredible. Imagine stopping here every time before you walk out of the house, and then you come back here to say thank you on your way back in. That prayer is also another one. I will share that one at another time as well. But this one specifically, when you get to work, I'm going to read to you exactly what he said. He gave specific instructions. Talk about intentionality, right? This is somebody who's about 40 years senior to me, and he is guiding me on exactly what he has learned from our gurus in the tradition of how to be intentional and how to feel fulfilled in every moment. And he said that you just need to be reminded of your relationship with God. And he said, do this as the first thing you do when you get into work. I printed this and I placed it on my cubicle, or like in the spot where I used to be at the startup. And I would start every day with these instructions afterwards. And I kid you not, my entire experience of that job was flipped on its head. And I already thought things were good. You can imagine what it did for my wife. First set of instructions, fold your hands. Second set of instructions, imagine God or the presence of God or your guru to be standing or sitting there with you in that moment. So those of you that may not have a guru is basically a spiritual teacher, somebody who guides you in the path of perfecting and purifying your intentions and your devotion, so that way you can be an even better devotee on the path. And if you don't believe in God, then just imagine the presence of the universe or something that connects you to your spirituality, something that's guiding you there in front of you. Some people can even imagine their ancestors or something that they believe has inspired them to be on the path that they're on today. For me, it's specific my Guru Mahant Swami, and I think of God. So that's that. And then the third step was to pray. And he recited a prayer. I wrote it down word for word, and I wordsmithed this just a little bit just to make sure that it's applicable to anybody. So I'd love to read this for you, and I hope that you can use this in any situation that you're in when it comes to your job, because if just reciting this prayer, has one little caveat I'll tell you. He said, at every hour, remember your guru or God or the presence of the divine or whoever you like to connect with, and believe and imagine they're sitting and standing there with you, next to you in that exact moment. Fold your hands and recite this prayer every hour. I put a reminder. I didn't do every hour. I wanted to, I didn't get to it. As me being honest, I probably did 4 to 5 times in the day and did it consistently. And then I ended up just doing it once in the day. And I look back and I realized if I had done it consistently in every hour, everything would have been different. My energy would have been different. Oh, it's just been so much better than it already was. Here's the prayer. You can close your eyes if you want to listen to this prayer. You can, on the description below, there'll be a link where I'd love to give this to you. So you just click on the link and it'll take you to a page where you can get the prayer and the words themselves. And eventually I'm going to be providing the other 2 as well that I've been doing. I'll just make a video separate for each one and explain the intention behind it. But when it came to work, this is the simple prayer that we did every single day. Here goes. I pray that all the work that I perform today, I do in such a way that it pleases you, that it gains your blessings, that it brings me closer to you. I am doing this for you, and because it is your wish for me to serve. That's it. I'm performing this work at the best of my ability today because it is my dharma. And more importantly, it is a direct wish from you to be my best. Please help me remember this. Please let me keep my focus on doing work with the intention of gaining your blessings and with the intention of growing closer to you. Please stay in my heart and allow me to be aware of your presence. Jai Swami Narayan. That's the phrase that I would end with. That's the greeting and the phrase in my specific tradition. But you can say whatever you'd like. You can say namaste, you can say thank you, you can say amen, you can say any phrase that helps you completely ground. You can say Om, you can say whatever. That's the way I would end. And I wouldn't open my eyes until I can imagine the energy, their presence, blessing me and saying, go on with your day. This will come true. There's something beautiful that happened in that moment. You set an intention that your brain, from a neurological point of view, the RAS system was aware of, that I'm going to work at the best that I can, and I'm doing this not because I want my boss to like me, I want to get that raise, I want to get that promotion, I want to do the best I possibly can because I know that that's what God would want me to do. And I want to do it with the intention of growing closer to Him. So I want to do it in such a way where I can remember God, I can remember my Guru throughout the process. Imagine if just your job that seems tiring, that boss that seems annoying, that employee that you can't get along with, that traffic that you don't want to deal with, all of it meant nothing anymore because the only thing you were focused on was what? Being the best you can, to serve, to be able to grow closer to God, to receive the blessings of God and your Guru. Okay, look, this is a quick message. I wanted to say that this probably sounds really simple, and I promise you it actually is. It is the simple things that make the greatest difference in our lives, and those are the things we typically forget about. My company started to fall apart for a short period of time, and I want to talk about what happened because I was doing this setting of intention or setting of prayer every single day while I was at work. It would change everything, because it did change everything. I remember right after we did that, my wife was able to maintain that job at that law firm without having to feel that emptiness again. And anytime she did, she just remembered that she forgot to do the prayer. And I felt the same thing. My employer ended up having to lay off half the company, just a few months of us starting that job. And because I was doing this prayer, I didn't think once about what was going to happen. I didn't worry at all. I didn't lose my patience. People would be talking when they get water. Are they thinking? Are they reading their email? Are they looking for new jobs? Are they applying? Are they interviewing? And wouldn't even be processing it at all. I would just say, I'm just here to do the best that I possibly can, and I'm going to do the best I can. Yes, I safeguarded my future, but I didn't lose any sanity. But more than anything, while I was at work, I was remembering God and my Guru repeatedly over and over again. From a spiritual perspective, the work that needs to be done to earn money, to live in this world, to pay for food, to pay for some place to live, you're going to have to do. But it doesn't mean that you have to forego or forget about your spiritual practice in doing that. You can infuse the two. And I have never been taught that spirituality and this worldly life are separate or different. They're one and the same. It just depends on what's your intention. Not a new practice or more effort, just a shift in intention. Why did it work the way that it did for me? And was it just a placebo? It could be. But I also spent a lot of time digging into the research to understand the deep principles. And I found two, at least that I want to share here. First one being purpose, and the second one being surrendering. Those two things make this kind of a shift actually permanent in somebody's life. This specific kind of shift can actually change their lives. And I literally mean change. Just listen to this. There's a researcher by the name of Patricia Boyle at Rush University Medical Center. She followed, I think, about 900 older adults for about 7 years. She found that the ones that had this strong sense of purpose, they all lived measurably longer. Not because they were healthier or because they ate better or anything else in their life was different. They didn't even exercise more. The only thing that was different was that there was this group of people that believed that they had a sense of purpose. And it's that purpose that seemed to be some sort of a protective mechanism. Because what Boyle's study found was that the risk of Alzheimer's disease was cut by more than half for those people that had a sense of purpose. Think about that. Not medication, not a supplement, just a reason to get up in the morning. How incredible. That's it. It's that simple. German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, I always struggle with this name. In 1889, he ended up saying, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Think about that. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Fast forward 50 years and now there's a psychiatrist by the name of Viktor Frankl who wrote the beautiful book, Man's Search for Meaning. He survived Auschwitz and he proved what Nietzsche was saying, and he proved it right. Frankl literally built an entire school of psychology around that one line, and he called it logotherapy. It's the idea of finding meaning as the primary human drive. Look, I've seen this firsthand in my life. To my core, I know this to be true, because despite how difficult it is to live a monastic life, the mentors I had never showed frustration, especially when circumstances were completely against them. They were so grounded in their belief and their understanding and their why, the sense of purpose, nothing bothered them. And nobody else would be able to understand how come when somebody pours steaming hot lentil soup on you, how are you not upset? And it's like, he was upset. He did what he thought was right in that moment. It's fine. Everything that happens, happens for my best. And that complete sense of understanding that I am a servant, and in this moment I am asked to serve, not reciprocate or to respond to somebody pouring hot lentil soup on me. Not me. This is the monk that I'm referring to, is my spiritual teacher today, Mahant Swami. When you think about that situation, he could have been bothered, annoyed, frustrated, but what did he do? He went to the restroom, washed up, changed his clothes, top and bottom, came back and offered him food. How? And he did that graciously. There was no pretense there. It was genuine. It's because of the sense of why. It's this sense and purpose and this understanding of who you are, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. It changes everything. Look, a philosopher wrote it, a Holocaust survivor proved it, my spiritual teachers for generations have lived it. And the research that we just talked about, how having a sense of purpose cuts down the chance of Alzheimer's risk and it's a predictor of living longer, all of that is the same principle. Something was measured in a lab, something else was measured in real life. Just having a reason to show up changes what your body does while you're there. After saying all of that, there's still one thing left. What this prayer adds that no goal setting can ever touch. There was a study done at the University of Wisconsin led by 2 neuroscientists, and they studied what happens when expert meditators face real pain. What they found drew a very clear line between fighting an experience and accepting it. Think about this. Fighting an experience, it could be a physical experience, a mental experience, a situation that you have to be in, a meeting you have to go into. It could be a merger, it could be a lawsuit. In fighting an experience and accepting it. The meditators did not feel less pain. Their brains actually responded with more intensity in the moment when the pain was happening. But the beautiful thing is those meditators did not brace themselves. They did not fight what was coming, and because they didn't fight it or brace themselves, they recovered extremely fast. That is the difference between giving up and surrendering. Just think about this. Surrendering means you still do your part. You show up, you try, you work with everything that you have as hard as you can with everything that you have, but you release the white knuckle grip on controlling the outcome. As my spiritual guru, Mahant Swami Maharaj, whose incident that I just shared with you, he says this all the time. Do your best and leave the rest. Not just leave the rest, release the rest. Let it go. This is not weakness. This is one of the most powerful psychological postures a human being can ever hold, because you then only control what you control. Just think about this. In my tradition, there's a scripture called the Bhagavad Gita. In there, Krishna is talking to this warrior named Arjun who's struggling on the battlefield to go to war because he saw his family on the other side of the lines. He told him, focus on your actions, what you are doing, and how you are doing it. Do not worry about the results. This right here is probably one of the most important things to keep in mind. Focus on the actions and how you're doing it, not the results. Offer all of the actions that you have at God's feet. That is the only thing that you can control. And that is exactly what this prayer is teaching us. I realized that this was aligned with everything that I've ever learned. I am doing this for you because it is your wish for me to serve. Full effort, open hands on the result. Do you understand? Does this make sense? Of course it does. The final piece, how you frame a stressful situation changes your body's actual stress response. And this is huge. People prepare for the cold, expecting it to be cold, and then when they get into the cold, it's super cold. Get ready to eat something, and they look at it, it's like, this is gonna be disgusting, and then they eat it, of course, it tastes disgusting. I see this happening with kids all the time. They learn to pre-frame their experience based on what they see the elders or other kids doing. Have you ever seen somebody say ew because somebody else said ew and they don't even know what they're talking about? It happens, and this happens a lot with adults. I have a really incredible experience with this exact story. So I had two people come over to my house, and we had just recently decided to change our diet, and we were vegan about 10 years ago. And at that time, they came over and they're like, oh, what are we going to eat? You know, you guys don't have normal cheese. You guys only have vegan cheese, and vegan cheese tastes crappy. And I said, no, I got two different types of cheeses. I'll give you one vegan cheese, and I'll give you the normal one. You just tell me whichever one you like, and that's the one that we'll use to make your pizza. And so I gave them two small, like shredded pieces of cheese, and they took it, and they got ready to eat it. So I just said, okay, wait, first of all, just remember which one's which. This is the vegan one, this is the regular one. So try the vegan one first. They tried it. Immediately both of their faces were like, that doesn't even taste, it's like plasticky. Literally, I remember those words, like plasticky. Then I said, okay, fine. Then if you like the other one, obviously I feel like you're gonna like the other one better. Go ahead, have that. I was psychologically pre-framing them. I told them, look, you're probably just gonna like this one better. Just give it a try, tell me, and then I'll use that one. And then they both take the other one, and they put the other one in their mouth, and they're like, why would you ever eat this plasticky one? This is normal cheese. And I swear, I looked at both of them, and I just kept smiling. And they're like, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I'm like, well, I knew that you were gonna think that that one was better. He's like, yeah, so then why'd you even make us try the vegan one? And then I pulled up the bag, and I said, because both of those came out of this one bag. They were both vegan. And it was both this one cheese. One was plasticky because they framed it in their mind that it was gonna be that. The other one tasted completely normal because they framed it in their mind that it was gonna be that. Does that make sense? There's a psychologist out of the University of Rochester who studied this exact thing that we're talking about. He said, he found that when people look at pressure in their life and they think of it as their body rising to meet the challenge, not as a threat or not as something that is trying to break them, that just pre-frame. The thought of how that feeling was defined to them changed the way that their cardiovascular system and their stress pattern actually responded. What he found is that the cardiovascular system shifted towards something that was measurably healthier. Did you hear that? He found that people who believed that this pressure was something that their body was capable of meeting, and it was actually a signal that my body is getting ready to handle this, versus feeling like a victim, it just changed the way that their heart responded to that exact environment. Nothing changed in the environment, just the way that they saw it. The simplest way I can explain is imagine there's two boxers. One boxer feels the adrenaline that the second one does as well. But one of them says, oh man, I'm terrified. Never been here before. This is nerve-wracking. Don't know how I'm gonna handle this. But the second one says, I'm dialed in. I'm ready for this. It's two different people, two different experiences, but the same chemicals inside their body, but they have a completely opposite experience. I've been learning from Tony Robbins over the last 18 years, and in the last 10 years, I've gone to a bunch of his events, and this year I'll be going to two more. In November, I'll be going to Unleash the Power Within. This is 2026, and December, if you're watching this before that, I'll be at Date with Destiny. Both of those I'll be going to in person for my third time, not my second, not my first, my third time. And there's something that he talks about there. It's this idea of being in the environment of people who are challenging themselves to grow. You learn. But he said something beautiful, that when you feel nervous, it just means you're about to learn something new. Imagine that. It's the same exact thing. We're talking about pre-framing. That's exactly what this prayer is designed to reframe. The entire workday, from a threat to an offering. I hope you can see now that the science, which is just something I happened to look into after the fact, is really just supporting what this traditional concept has been teaching this whole time. And the main message of all of this is that you aren't a victim of your stress. You're actually a pilot of your physiology. You are literally in the driver's seat all the time, everywhere, anywhere. Everything that we discussed today points to one main thing. You, my brother, are a sovereign. You're in control. You have control how you experience your day all the time. And it changes it changes when, okay? When you consciously take control and live intentionally. That's when this entire life shifts. What changes? The goal. And when the goal changes, everything changes. You're not just trying to get through the workday anymore. You're literally using your brain to turn the workday into an offering. That, my friends, is a fundamental pivot. I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that this video is something that you can use moving forward. And this prayer is something that you choose to integrate, or a version of it or something. And at least it reminds you that life doesn't just have to be full of busy things. You can be very intentional about where you want to spend the time with your mind. And when you do that, it changes everything. The job didn't change for me. The job didn't change for my wife. The employees didn't change for either of us. The conditions didn't change for either of us. The timings didn't change for either of us. The schedule didn't change for either of us. The workload didn't change for either of us. The only thing that changed was our attitude towards it and our intention. We set that intention, we said a prayer, we told our brain what was important and what to focus on, and it changed the quality of our life. My gurus would say directly and indirectly that nothing in life really has to change for life to get better. We just have to change the way we look at things. And if there's anything that needs to change, it's us, nothing outside of us. We simply have to learn to use our mind more intentionally so we can use this body, this life, this moment, this breath with absolute intention. And the closer we can get to that with grace and with love for ourselves and this journey, the sooner we can have a bit more stability, fulfillment, and happiness. All right, guys, so before I close, I want you to try something right now. I'm taking my glasses off for this one. I want you to try it, not tomorrow, not later, but right now. Think about your work that you're gonna go to tomorrow, the job that you have, the company that you run, the people that you're gonna manage, whatever it might be. Think of it. What is it? Is it a job site? Are you at the office? Are you working from home? Is it a classroom, a kitchen? Is it your car? What is it gonna be? If you can, and you're not doing anything dangerous, like operating machinery or driving a car, or anything like that, if you're safely sitting and you're watching this, I'm gonna ask you to close your eyes and just imagine what I described for the next few moments. Picture yourself walking in to your job site, your work, your office, your workstation. What is the first thing you normally do? Do you check your phone? Do you open your laptop? Do you scan your email for files? Do you scan your email for any fires? Just think about that moment. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Just breathe in and breathe out. And actually visualize that exact moment right now. Now imagine this. Before any of that, before any of what you just did in those first few moments, you decide to stop. And you sit down and you set a really powerful intention. You close your eyes and just for 3 seconds, maybe 5, you think this. You bring your mind towards anything that connects you to something larger than yourself. Maybe God, your guru, the universe, your ancestors, your mentors. Just think of the purpose behind why you do what you do. And then, silently in your head, say this as I say it to you. Just imagine the day starting with this phrase in your head. I pray that all the work that I perform today, I do in such a way that it pleases you, that it gains your blessing, that it brings me closer to you. Thank you. End on the phrase thank you. Take a breath. Invite that presence into your day, into that moment. That's it. You can open your eyes. 3 seconds of intention before the day starts running you. I said this earlier in a previous video. Many people are managed by their life. Very few people manage their life. It's not about just scheduling things. It's about how you use your mind. It's that simple. That's all you have to do. And you already know what happens next. You know the science. You know what type of impact it's going to have. You know what it did for me. Your intention loads the target into your attention filter in your brain, keeps an open loop that your brain keeps coming back to all day because you told it it's important to you. You do not need to think about it. You do not need to even put effort. You do not need to think about it too much more, and you don't need to effort your way through the entire day. You've set the intention. Your brain does the work. You just have to trust. The same way your brain has been allowing you to live this entire time, your entire life, now you're just using it in your favor. The only thing that changes is what you point it towards. The only thing that changes is what you point it towards. This prayer is not adding another thing to your morning routine. It's about pointing your routine that you already have towards something that actually matters to you more than just this life. It's absolutely beautiful. I want to tell you about just last couple of things that are coming up in my mind. In the 1600s, there was a French monk who was named Brother Lawrence. And he ended up saying something amazing. He worked in the kitchen all the time. Not in the chapel. Not where the people were. Not in meditation. He was actually in the kitchen, physically toiling away. And he said something. The time of business does not with me differ from the time of prayer. Maybe he said it in some different ways and different words, but that's a translation that made sense to me. The time of business does not with me differ from the time of prayer. I'll relate it back to something in my spiritual tradition. The first spiritual successor of Bhagwan Swaminarayan in my tradition, he said something really beautiful. One should learn to work while offering devotion. Hear that again. One should learn to work while offering devotion. Not working and then finding a way to offer devotion. Completely different perspectives on life. Offer devotion and then find a way to work within it. This is not, there is literally no separation between the sacred and the ordinary. It's one and the same. Just a matter of whether you choose to see it that way. There is only how. The only thing that matters in this whole thing is how you show up. And it's exactly what this prayer, this intention that we've been talking about this entire time is designed to do. Look, I encourage you to try it tomorrow. One time. Just one time. And then I just ask you to notice what shifts. Just give yourself a full 7 to 14 to 21, a whole entire month of doing this as the first thing that you do before you start work. If you see that it's making a positive impact on your life, continue doing it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and to stay all the way here till the end. The video and every other video on this page isn't just about whatever we're talking about on those videos. It's actually more. It's actually about joining a brotherhood that refuses to let the grind consume them. Because you know your life is more than that. And if you're done reacting and ready to lead your day with intention, hit the subscribe button. I'm preparing a group I'm calling the Brotherhood. It's for men who want to lead without any excuses. None. Zero. The link to join the waitlist is in the description below. And I will tell you this much, anyone who joins that is gonna live with intention. And if this video really landed for you, here are 3 ways that you can turn this video into a daily practice. The first one is the prayer itself. Look in the description below, I already mentioned it, but Anand Suraswamy gave me something to say, I wrote it down. You can take that, don't just look at it. Print it, put it on your desk, put it on your dashboard, put it in your car, put it on your nightstand, put it wherever you need to so you can see it. Let it be a physical trigger that pulls you back when your day just gets too busy. Second is, if you really got value, please subscribe. And only if you did. We're building a space where men who are finished with the just getting by mentality and are really ready to lead come together. And if you know a brother running on empty, send this to him. This might help. The work is heavier when you're doing it alone. I know that from experience. Walk it with someone else. Join me and the hundreds of other people that are already here on this journey. And the last thing is resetting. Intention requires your nervous system to be steady. I recorded a 10-minute box breathing session that would help you reset your day, whether it's in the morning or even if it's done at night. And no, there's no apps, no hoops that you have to jump through. It's just a track to help you recover. Either you can download it at the link in the description below, or you can just watch the recent black screen guided meditation that I just uploaded for the exact same video. So you get the audio, or you can have the video here on YouTube. I pray that you're able to use this prayer to start your work, and you're able to use the breathing to maybe end your day. The links are all in the description. Go grab whatever you want. It's awesome having you here. Thank you so much. Until next time, keep your intention clear, my friends. I'll see you on the next one.